Hello everyone, welcome back to the TJOmega channel for day 1361 of our daily content grind. So, it came up in the last Q&A video that I had so many people asking me about things like this that I decided we just kind of need to run through and just do this as kind of like an occasional mini-series here on the channel. I was put to the task of coming up with modern versions of Botcon sets using newer toys. So, okay, that's actually fine. That's actually a clever idea because I am a big proponent of bringing back those Botcon characters and giving people a second chance at like really cool, interesting decos they normally wouldn't get, and that kind of like inventive reimagining of those characters that we really don't get anymore. You know, Botcon, for all of its problems, especially in later years, always had this way of like being really clever with their mold choices and getting us to view characters in new ways. So I decided I'm gonna start doing that. Let's just try to reinvent some old Botcon sets. And obviously the first place we gotta start is going to be the very first set I ever bought, the only set I ever got to buy in attendance at a Botcon, and that is Generation 2 Redux. For me, it was an absolutely perfect set because G2 was the first line of Transformers I could buy with my own money as a kid. And there's a lot of really, really cool homages and characters that I loved seeing come back in the set. So let's start off with that, and we're going to start with the leaders of the set, which means we start with Spark, or Pyro, depending on which release you actually saw in the UK. This one, I will admit, is fairly easy. The G1 is a long, it's kind of like a long, kind of like, I'm not even not sure what kind of truck it is. Some kind of rescue truck. But it's a very, very long vehicle. Longer than this, but this was the closest they had at the time. But to get that length back in, and to keep the spirit of this, the obvious choice is going to be Kingdom Inferno. That's a no-brainer, right? Like, that's the easy one. We get some of the easy ones out of the way first, right? And there are some very, very simple ones here. But there's some that have a few clever twists we can play with, like Clench. I do love me a Euro G1 Clench. I forgot that I've redone my shelves. I look over here where my G1 Clench that a fan of the channel helped me acquire many moons ago. Well, it used to be over there. It's in the other room now. I do have G1 Clench. I love G1 Clench. I would love for him to get a proper brand new toy. Don't tell me about the Swapticon he's getting. I know about it. I mean a real toy. Now, for me, the obvious one that they never used was the first version of Prime Ultra Magnus, because he actually had the front of the truck forming the big shoulder pieces, you know, and he was just kind of like this big truck with a missile launcher on the back. Switch out a new accessory and you could absolutely make him look exactly like the original Clench. But this is for modern molds. This is for modern molds, so I can't use that. Gee, I guess I'm going to have to use the Cybertron Optimus homage instead. Now, this is cheating a little bit. Now, if we're imagining this as like a capsule line that would come out at Walmart or Amazon or something, then yes, they wouldn't, they would touch the leader class. As a Botcon set, no. Botcon sets never went larger than like ultra class. But this one we could get away with at retail because, yeah, like there's elements here to work with. Like the fact that the shoulders are made of the truck halves. They're just pointed in the wrong direction. He is a big weapon truck in vehicle mode. That windshield on his chest is faux. Like, that's not his real windshield. So we can paint that and color it like the original toy's chest rather than sticking directly to the Botcon attempt. So, and this is one of those where I have to go back to the original. Like, really what I want to do with a lot of these is retain the spirit of the toy and the repaint itself. I don't want it to necessarily just be a brand new version of that character. I want it to be a brand new version of the Botcon version of the character. So, admittedly, this would work as pie in the sky, my wildest dreams type modern Clench figure. But It doesn't work as a Botcon clench, but really there isn't a mold that does work as a clench. Like that armored truck that he was in thanks to being Universe 2 Onslaught, means that he really doesn't have a good modern equivalency in vehicle mode. So unfortunately, I don't have a great choice for him. I would love for it to be this though. Just saying. Let's take another obvious one off of the list, and that's G2 Breakdown. I think there is a charm that the Botcon Breakdown is always a Sideswipe repaint. I think there is a charm to that. There is absolutely no reason to not continue that. However, I have a very specific requirement, and that is the fact that we use the Siege version of Sideswipe with the more futuristic shapes and lines in vehicle mode. Now, you might wonder why I say that when the character is almost always depicted in like a modern Earth vehicle, and you wouldn't have that like the more futuristic elements that this toy tends to hold. That is because of this toy. This is the custom class Sideswipe. I didn't get to go to the custom class. This is the only Botcon 2010 toy I never got, which is not a sore spot at all. The point being, though, I do want every character from that year recast, which means this toy needs a new version too. The problem is, we did get a G2 Sideswipe from the modern Siege mold, but it literally was the Siege version. We didn't get one of the Earth mode version, meaning we can use Kingdom Sideswipe in all of his lovely Earth mode details, and we can use that to represent our G2 Sideswipe, given the new parts, and preferably with a lot more that like neon green that G2 is supposed to have, and they completely skipped on it for his previous release. That way both can come out, both can have something special to them. And that way we're not like completely just like reusing molds here. We're mixing it up a little bit. And that also brings me to another obvious one, Street Star, which I love that they threw that in because now there was a Botcon equivalent and a rival to G2 Breakdown. It's another one of the unreleased combiners from G1. In this case, it's supposed to be Streetwise under a new copyright safe name. And then making him a retool from like Earthrise Prowl, easy. Absolutely easy call to make there. But I'm going to pull the exact same trick because there's Rapido, one of my absolute favorites, a toy I did buy from childhood. I have a lot of very specific nostalgia when it comes to this character. And another reason why I was so happy that of all Botcons I get to go to, it was 2010, because this guy was in the lineup. Well, same trick. I want the Cybertronian version of the mold used, and this time that means we would use the Blue Streak version without the light bar. Separates the two out, gives them a little bit of difference, and I think if you're getting a character named Rapido, a new mold, this one is sleeker and does look faster than the Earthrise version of the mold, so I think that's appropriate. Now, we've covered everyone from the box set except for him. We'll get to him in a second, but before we get to him, we have to get to the Troop Builder, because this was one of the most obvious things anyone could do, and I think it was a brilliant one to choose. It's the Energon Sharkticon mold as G1 Sharkticons. Obviously, they're not actual Sharkticons. They are, the robot modes look way nicer. The vehicle modes are far more like submarines or spaceships. It is designed, inspired by the Nemesis, not, rather than any actual Sharkticon. So, the equivalency here gets very, very difficult. Obviously, none of the modern Sharkticon molds are going to work for this. That's too easy. I want to keep the shape, I want to keep the vibe of this version intact. So for that, I'm using Devcon, because that vehicle mode hits that same sleek space cruiser shape You know, it sits that same shape, you know, and it still has a few elements there that still kind of work for the Sharkticons. I actually kind of like the fact that he's got the fins hanging off the arms, because that does kind of, you can kind of invoke a shark a little bit from that. It's a silly choice, but there's no way to not have a silly choice here, because we need like sleek spaceship and or submarine designs, and Devcon's mold is about the only one we have to pick from. I think it works. It's a weird one, but it works. But that does leave their leader, Sky-Byte. And if you've never really looked into the Botcon 2010 set and you're wondering why a set called Generation 2 has all these Euro G1, G1, and now a Robots in Disguise character thrown in, we were confused too. It's not like G2 has a lack of iconic toys that they could have made for this set. They just went very weird. They decided to be very weird with it, and we're not sure why. This is when Botcon started losing a lot of their focus when it came to their exclusive box sets, to the point where even the box set did not have enough toys that properly represented the theme. I think in that set, you technically, in the box set, I think you technically only have, I'm trying to remember everyone in the box set. You can make an argument there's technically no G2 toys in the box set, because everyone in the box set is either Euro G1, RID 2001, Botcon originating, or technically unreleased. You can make an argument that none of them are G2. It amuses me. The problem I always had with Sky-Byte here, not just the fact that he's an RID01 character coming into a G2 set, but the fact that he's just kind of there, you know? Like, he should be superior to the Sharkticon, so I could make him another Devcon retool. But, you want crazy? You want a crazy idea? Scourge. Aside from the fact they keep a similar silhouette in vehicle mode, so he does just look like a larger, more advanced version of the Sharkticons in the set. I like that you can get a semblance of his G1, his original kibble from Scourge's kibble. I like that you still have, like, remember, here's the cool part. Here's where we really get to play around. Remember that thing on Scourge's head, that thing that I'm still not sure what the thing is, that like pompadour torpedo thing he's got going on. When we retool this with Sky-Byte's head, that's his fin, and that's the same piece. Remember the way that these are engineered. That headpiece is designed to poke out at the top rear of the vehicle mode, meaning that's going to be Sky-Byte's head fin. That's going to be his mohawk. That's going to make that vehicle look pretty freaking interesting. And I would love that so much. So yeah, it's a weird call, but this would be my call. You know, that way you have like an advanced version of the troop builder rather than just like another repaint. We're going to do some few more easy ones here. So here we have Turbo Master, who was actually oh, not Flash. Oh, these always had weird names. Flame. These had very simple names. This is Flame, but yeah, now again, easy. We just use the new Hound mold. Done. Call an exclusive. I always imagine if you want to be closer to his G2 or his Euro G1 toy. This set's got me doing it now. If you wanted to be closer to his original toy, the mold to go with would have been Trailbreaker. But if I'm sticking true to how they looked in the Botcon set, we can't use this guy. Even though the truck mode is way closer, he's got the same pot belly thing going on. This is a far better approximation. Another easy one's going to be Cindersaur, because frankly, we don't have a whole lot of options for deluxe-sized Tyrannosaurus Rex. So it does give me a lot less to pick from, meaning, yeah, we would have to go a little bit outside the norm here. Typically, we stick to Generations level toys for Botcon stuff, but there's nothing that says we can't use the other generations as well. We can use the other toy lines, like any of the deluxe Grimlocks that we have gotten recently, either from Cyberverse or Earthspark, I tend to lean toward Earthspark because it's leaned down. It's not like heavily armored like the Cyberverse one is. I love the Cyberverse one, but I feel like Cindersword doesn't need to be that overkill as far as armament's going. I don't think he needs a big missile pause on his shoulders, for instance. This is a little bit more subdued, a little bit sleek down. I think that's a better fit, so that would be the call there. Another one that was fun to pick out was Slicer, and now obviously we've had Slicer done from Wheeljack already, so the obvious one is already out. Unfortunately, because Energon is a very particular beast, there really isn't a car transformer I could think of that would really represent this well. You know, like this would get tricky. I could go, part of me was thinking of going with, like, the new Cybertron Hotshot toy that came out, but I don't know, like, that puts the wheels on his arms, which is close. It's a faux chest, like, it's a chest that we could retool into whatever we wanted, so that kind of worked, but I also didn't want to just make the blue transformer a blue transformer, which is why I picked a different blue transformer and went with Chase. It's a terrible justification. Because at least it's a different shade of blue. And I do like that this does some of the original Wheeljack stuff. Like the way the chest works is pretty much similar to the original Wheeljack toy. So you can kind of get the approximation of it going here as well. There are details in the sculpting of this toy that will let you play with slicers and actually let you get some of that deco in. That's the part that kind of attracted me to using this toy to it. Yeah, but admittedly, this one's not the best one. We don't really have a really good modern equivalent I can think of offhand. But he wasn't the worst. We've got one to go, and I will admit, I don't have a clue. I really do not have a clue, and that is Double Punch. See, this one is just going to be frustrating no matter what, because, like, what do I do here? Now, I could find, like, some kind of transformer with more of, like, the Blackbird style jet mode and just stick to that, but then he's not going to have, like, the big claw hands. Like, that's the big thing, is that, like, the Scorpion elements in Double Punch are so strong that, I really can't do without them. Like, My alternative would have been to find some toy that had like a big old jet mode, and then along with a new head, throw in like big punchy like Hulk hands that are just big pink scorpion claws, which would have been really lame. And even then, I will admit, I still am not quite sure who this would be. If I did the punchy claw thing, then maybe Titan's Return Overlord, but that would take so much retooling. I mean, Hasbro's willing to do that retooling, and that'd be the only way I could get the triple change in there, is to use his Duocon shtick. That way the jet is represented, and then you'd just kind of have to pretend that the tank is a Scorpion. I don't know, like, there's no easy way here. There's no easy answer here when, like, I'm staring at this like, please don't let me have to pick that Scorponok. Please don't let me have to pick that Scorponok for this set. No. Is what it is. But you know what? You know what it really does? It really highlights a huge problem and a huge gap that we have in Transformers as a collector, which is the fact that every Scorponok is gigantic, and we really have a lot of reasons for having a sensibly sized Scorponok in our collection that Hasbro has still never delivered to us. So I might make an entire rant over that when I get the opportunity. But for now, that's as close as I could come. I'm one short. Because I even looked at other Scorpion Transformers and go, like, you know, Double Punch really isn't depicted as too big. I could really make him any size I wanted. And there still isn't a great option. When I'm looking at Rise of the Beast Scorponok as a possibility, I need to just admit I stumbled at the finish line here. But that's as close as I come. Let me know what you think of the picks down below. If you have a better pick, please let me know. Solve Double Punch for me, because I can't do it on my own. But thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you next time. Hello everyone, I am Astral Agent Magnetar, a Tokusatsu VTuber, and I am streaming 4 times a week over on Twitch, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons, and a special late night one on late Friday/early Saturday. So come watch, come hang out, and let's make an impact together.